I literally had no clue for decades how many times I handed my power over to the ego, how many times I allowed fears to drive me and allow fear or limited beliefs to make the decision for me. How many times I looked and thought, I'm not good enough, even though I know that I have a good talent in certain areas. We've all been there. That's why I'm saying ego drives most of the world, and we don't know any better because that is what the world is teaching us. Welcome to Get Real with Deb, the Monday morning podcast for awakening souls who are ready to break free from ego-driven cycles and to live from your truth and your inner power. I'm Debheneghan. Each week, we uncover truths, we find inspiration through real stories and raw conversations, and we invite your physical being to meet your authentic self. This is where you allow your soul to finally lead. It's exciting, raw, and real. This, my friends, is where the magic happens. So let's get real together. I'm so excited to be here with you today because today's topic is the biggest topic that I could spend the rest of my lifetime talking about. We're going to talk about ego today, and it likely will just be a quick touch point, but we're going to try to hit the top major points about the ego. First is first, here's what ego stands for: edging God out. And for those of you, replace God with whoever your higher power is, source, universe. Take what feels right to you, but at the end of the day, ego stands for edging out greatness, edging God out, edging greatness out. Your greatness, your true self. Now, I know you're going to say to yourself, or perhaps to me, I'm not in my ego. My ego doesn't drive me. Think again, because the ego is driving your life. I am sorry to break it to you. The ego is even driving my life, but that's why we're here. We're here to bring this to the surface so that we can change up our own lives and therefore the world around us, because the world is nothing but ego, control, power, fighting, retaliation, anger, negativity, fears, limited thinking. It is madness. Ego stands for edging greatness out. Do you really want your higher power edged out and not in the realm of your living journey? Do you really want greatness removed? Because I will guarantee you the answer should be hell no. Not just no, but hell no. I know it's hell no for me. I still find myself an ego sometimes. How do you know when you're an ego? Well, again, right off the bat, you are. We are all an ego. Typically, because we're responding to the shit that goes on in this world. We're engaging in it. We're handing over our power to it. We're giving focus and our power, our energy to things that drive us nuts. That's not truth, and that is not love. If you're coming from a place that is not ego, you're coming from truth and love. When you are in truth and love, only goodness happens. Things flow. Miracles and magic appear. You have a great day. You feel good. Your heart lights up. You're smiling. You're in a good place. Ego does not give anything that helps you to feel like you're in a good place. Now, it pretends like it does, and it'll feed you all the BS lines that say, you're fine, you're good, life is good, but you know damn well when you are providing lip service to yourself or you're listening to the ego. Sorry, but at the end of the day, we are here to get real. We're here to talk honest talks. That's exactly what we're doing. I have an ego bitch that sits on my shoulder and I kill her off many times. The whole point is, I want you to know that the ego is the driving force for the majority of the world, and we don't even realize it. And it's fascinating to me just how much we all have no clue. I'm talking about myself. I literally had no clue for decades how many times I handed my power over to the ego, how many times I allowed fears to drive me and allow fear or limited beliefs to make the decision for me. How many times I looked and thought, I'm not good enough, even though I know that I have a good talent in certain areas. We've all been there. That's why I'm saying ego drives most of the world, and we don't know any better because that is what the world is teaching us. So today we're going to teach ourselves something else. We're going to say to ourselves, I want my higher power in my life. I want to be in a place of truth and love. I want to feel good, be happy. I want to experience life. I want to have fun and feel good day in and day out. So I am going to consciously pay attention to me, myself, my thoughts, my words, my actions in my day-to-day life and figure out what is truth and not truth. As part of this, it's a matter of understanding if you're just going through the motions, if you're sleepwalking, if you're in a trance, if you are feeding into all of the noise that's around. If you're doing that, you're in ego. You're in a state of untruth. And I know that this is sometimes pretty hard to swallow because we think that we're doing good. We may pray to our higher power. We all have our own little patterns, rituals, routines, and things that help us to feel good. But if you're just doing that to just do it and say you did it, or if you're just doing it because you're going through the motions because you think that's what you're supposed to do, if you're doing that for all of the reasons that don't equal what your heart is saying, that's ego. It's ego. Most of it is ego. Like sometimes I think to myself, I don't want to help anybody. That's ego. That's my ego coming in going, you're tired. You're no good at this. You can't connect with people. Blah, blah, blah. Charlie Brown's teacher. Want, 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 want. The ego is going to plant things in your mind that is not true, and you are going to believe a lot of it. We all have. There is nothing wrong with us because we do that. We just didn't know or don't know any better. But it's time to wake up. It's time for us to come together, understand what ego means, understand what falls under the ego umbrella, which is fears and everything that goes along with that, anything that doesn't feel good. It's time to understand what those are, figure out where they are in your life so that you can work on getting rid of them. Yes, it can be just like that. You make a choice and fear and ego is gone, but we're human and we have a hard time, us humans. Sometimes we have to feel pain in order to understand that something needs to change. But I want you to start paying attention. When you don't feel good, when you're making a decision that you know you don't want to, when you're going against what your gut or what your heart is saying, when you're doing all of these things, be conscious of it. Maybe just ask for something like a bell to ring in your mind or something that just snaps you out of it or just makes you aware of it. Because the very first step is really awareness. It's observing first and then being aware of how you're operating in your day-to-day life and why. If you can start to recognize those moments when the ego is driving, again, that's the majority of the time, but when you can start to recognize it, you can then make a conscious decision or a conscious choice to shift things to truth, to shift things to love, to shift things to something more positive. You got positivity or negativity. You have truth or untruth. You have love or fear. You have faith or ego. At the end of the day, it's one or the other. Neither can exist in the same place at the same time. You'll always hear me say this. But I want you to recognize just how big of a force the ego is in your life. Pay attention. This is not about being critical. This is not about beating yourself up because that is the ego. Do not allow the ego to drive. Breathe. Go within, put your hands on your heart and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? How do I feel today? Why am I frustrated? Peel back the layers so that you can understand where the frustration is coming from, because frustration is ego. If you cannot get yourself to a place of truth, you will always remain in some level of ego. That's a hard one to swallow, I know, because I hate saying it myself. I want to think that I am always in a loving, positive place. The majority of the time, yes, perhaps now where I am in my life, but not all of the time. And guess what? We're not going to get rid of the ego fully. But what we can do is, again, understand it, shift from having it drive, allow our hearts, our truth, our authenticity, our beautiful, genuine self to come out, allow our soul to lead. The ego is a human-driven force, and our soul does not agree or fit with the ego because it is not truth. It is not love. So as you become more aware of how the ego is playing out in your life, I want you to also think about the balance of your spiritual self and your physical self. Because you will hear me talk about this often as well. We really want to understand the ego so that we can tame it and allow our truth to come out, which is our spiritual sense, our spiritual self, our true divine high self. We are all spiritual beings here renting this physical body to experience the physical sensations and the beauty of the physical world, right? It is beautiful when you can remove the noise. But if we engage in the noise and we give power and more energy to that control, the noise, the anger, the awful stuff in the world, we have lost our sense, our true sense of self. It's time now to understand what you have inside from the beautiful true essence of your soul. Allow your soul and your truth, the love in your heart. And if you haven't felt that, call me, reach out to me and let's talk about it. But allow that love that's in your heart that I hope that you have felt at least once in life, allow that to come out. Allow that to be the driving force in your life. It's hard, I know. And I know that the ego will give you an entire list of all the reasons why you can't do anything other than what you're doing right now, because history shows it. Guess what? You are one very powerful individual who writes your own story. You just have to believe what you want to write, and you have to hold the pen to write what you want in your life, in your story, in your journey. The only way to overcome the ego and allow your soul to lead is if you choose to do so. It is as simple as a choice going against all of the human stuff that we have been taught. You make the choice to follow your heart. You make the choice to be in truth. You make the choice to be in love and compassion and grace. And when you make that choice, the ego is going to fight like hell to stay around. It's going to tell you all the reasons why it's not going to work. It's probably even going to create scenarios in your life that knock you down. I know this. I left my career after 30 years to do what I am passionate about, and it is this. But my ego bitch has shown up far too many times this last year to tell me all the reasons why I made a mistake. Guess what? I don't give a flying rat's ass what that ego says, because when I can calm down the noise and shut down the ego, I can listen to my heart and go to a place of quiet and connect with my true self. It is then and only then that I can confidently say, I made the right choice. I'm on the right path. And while I may have some challenges and roller coaster ups and downs and some bumps in the road, I know when that is ego trying to step in to take me down. That's what happens. This is what life is. It's to test us, to go deep. It's to test our faith. And if you're lacking with faith because something happened that hurt like hell, I ask you and invite you, please, to try again. The dark moments in life, the experiences in life that cause us extreme pain, they happen to help us grow. There is a gift in it. That's a whole nother conversation. But I ask you, please, to do the best you can, to have faith in yourself, in your dreams. Because if you don't believe in your dreams, who will? If you don't go after your dreams, who will? If you don't stand up for yourself and say to that ego, noisy, running mouth, shut up, who will? You must choose you. Please choose you. Remember what ego stands for. Don't allow fears and stress and anxiety and overwhelm and lack and all of the negative, controlling things that just don't feel good. Don't allow any of that to rule you or your world. You're here to live, to play, to create, to experience. You have a blank canvas that you can paint anything you want. So paint, play, create, experience, live, love, connect. Be in truth. Be in your heart. Because you deserve to live an amazing life. And you need to give yourself permission to do so. And the first step again is making a choice to begin to observe you in your day-to-day life. Be more aware of what is the driving force in your life. And then do something about it. Because if it is ego, and again, for all of us, myself included, 99% of the times we are in ego without even knowing. But understanding it a little bit better, because you start to peel back the layers and you're more aware and more conscious, you can then start to make decisions to shift, to move to a place of truth. But you have to believe. And honestly, for me, I don't do this without my higher power. I just don't. It doesn't work for me without my higher power. I am not who I am in this world without my higher power. I can't even fathom it without. So if you don't have faith right now and don't believe, my heart goes out to you, and I would love for us to connect, because there is a way beneath all of that hurt. There is a way to find your truth again and to be in a place of love, harmony, and grace. I know that you can do this. Be aware and understand the ego, because it's time for all of us to shut down the ego and to allow for our truth and our souls, our authentic selves, to step up to the plate and to be the leader in our life. I know you can do it, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today on Get Real with Deb. If today's episode inspired you, hit subscribe, share this with a friend, and leave a comment for us at Get Real, Live Your Story on all socials. Now, are you ready to jumpstart your journey to living from your truth and your authenticity? If you are, grab my free program and get started right away. And right now, for the upcoming holiday season, when you register for the free program, you'll also unlock a special discount for my masterclass, which is starting in January. You can find all details at getrealliveyourstory.com. I truly appreciate your presence and your energy, and I'd love for you to join me every Monday as we dive deeper into uncovering your true self and stepping fully into your power. And until then, I'm sending you lots of love and light.